Kate Manne's journey begins with a visceral personal reckoning. She recounts a moment when, after days of stringent dieting that left her nearly unconscious, she realized she could no longer allow her body to be dictated by shame. That moment, where her vision blurred and her doctor left after a curt, "well done," marks the start of her rebellion against both self-harm and societal expectations. From this turning point, Manne refuses to shrink further, either in body or voice. She declares her mission, to dismantle fat phobia, not by learning to love her body better, but by changing the world so that all bodies are treated justly. Her manifesto is clear: bodies aren't costumes to be modified for social acceptance, they belong to their owners. Her critique is meticulous. She examines how fat phobia isn't merely personal preference or fleeting bias, it's a systemic force that marks some bodies as unwelcome, inferior, or unlovable. It shapes education, healthcare, employment, even airline seats, creating a world built around thinner bodies. Manne shows how this form of oppression intersects with gender, race, class, and disability. Fat women bear unique pressures, not only to conform to feminine beauty standards but also to resist roles imposed by sexism. The layers of bias accumulate, turning fat phobia into a potent weapon against anyone outside normative ideals. She confronts common health myths. Manne dispels the notion that fat automatically equals unhealthy, citing studies showing that moderate fat does not necessarily reduce lifespan. She points out the cruel irony: society tolerates risky behaviors like alcohol or motorcycling, yet punishes bodies for being large, even when health parallels exist. Personal narrative threads through the analysis. Manne shares the deep shame she felt during her rise in academia, packing scales even as she became a respected philosopher. She confesses that diet culture gripped her until motherhood forced a reckoning. As she says, she owed it to her daughter to confront the obsession over her size. Her own experiences become a mirror for broader systemic injustices: lower wages, fewer promotions, poor medical treatment. Teachers expect less of heavier students, doctors misdiagnose or ignore issues. Airlines design seats and belts exclusively for slender patrons. These are not stories of isolated discrimination, they are patterns. The philosophical core emerges as Manne coins body reflexivity. This means recognizing whose bodies the world is designed for, and resisting norms that demand conformity. We must challenge implicit hierarchies that place thinness above humanity. It's not about self-love, it's about collective transformation. Manne shows how fat phobia works, like a straitjacket, with catastrophic results, depriving people of mobility, freedom, and dignity. In her hands, data and essay unite to demonstrate how size bias disadvantages fat people in education, employment, healthcare, and even pregnancy care. Readers echo this impact. Many are struck by the intimacy of her writing and the raw honesty with which she shares her eating disorder recovery. Her ongoing struggle offers solidarity to many, showing both vulnerability and resistance. Others note the strength of her systemic critique. She exposes how even highly educated spaces, like academia, permit fat phobia to flourish unchecked. Fat people are not only excluded from opportunities but are also frequently shamed, ridiculed, and silenced. Manne also lays bare how disgust underpins fat phobia, rooted in Enlightenment thinking intertwined with racist and sexist ideologies. It's emotional, aesthetic, and historically constructed, not rational. But it demands dismantling all the same. She doesn't shy away from contemporary issues like the popularity of fat loss drugs. She acknowledges the appeal and the relief they offer against stigma, yet warns that they may reinforce the same oppressive beauty narratives. Opting out, she suggests, can be a radical refusal of a culture obsessed with thinness and profit. Her tone remains compassionate. Though she critiques internalization of diet culture, especially among women, she does so without blame. She recognizes that this participation stems from collective trauma, not personal weakness. Her approach resists judgment and instead builds empathy. In the end, Manne's vision is expansive, not to shrink ourselves into acceptance, but to expand society structures to include all bodies. She insists justice requires redesigning spaces, institutions, and attitudes to affirm rather than punish physical difference. Unshrinking is a narrative of reclamation, of body, identity, and rights. It tells a story of personal reckoning, historical analysis, and philosophical upheaval. More than a memoir or polemic, it's a call to revolution, a demand that bodies matter, all bodies, and that justice must rise around them.